Okay, wonderful. So welcome everyone to How to Build a Strong Application info session here at UC Berkeley Journalism. I want to welcome myself as the Director of Admissions here. My name is Nelly. I think I have probably heard from a lot of you already, whether that's an interest in doing a campus visit or just answering other types of questions throughout the summer. But we're very excited to have you here. Haydee is also a J peer. She can kind of introduce herself as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Haydee. I'm a second year at the J School, and right now I'm on the narrative track.
Yes, so we'll talk more about tracks. But yes, she is on the narrative writing track. So if you are interested in that track, you can feel free to ask her more questions about that at the end. So today's agenda, who are we? So again, introducing ourselves. We want to know who you are as well, and also who we're looking for. And then we'll do a program overview and followed by talking a little bit about the admissions process, timeline, and funding opportunities. I know that that's something, of course, that is really important to most of you all. And at the end, we'll discuss application tips from myself, but also Haydee, who's gone through this process before, and leaving time for Q&A to discuss those tips and more. So to keep going and make sure we have enough time, who are we? We are proud and passionate educators supporting a shared mission. Our mission is to expand the worldwide impact of truth-seeking, fact-based, and inclusive journalism by training the next generation of diverse journalists to become exceptional storytellers and industry leaders. And here you can see our J School featured in the background. And then the picture at the bottom is actually just a picture of all of the staff that make things go round, make things function around here. So yeah, but this is a really great, lively place to be. So hopefully you'll have a chance to come here at some point. Introducing our new dean. So we're really excited to onboard our new dean, Michael Bolden. He's the former CEO and executive director of the American Press Institute, API, and managing editor of the JSK Knight Stanford program. And something he has mentioned is that that there is no place he'd rather be than at Berkeley, especially at this time of great challenge to journalism and democracy. And I think probably most of you also can echo that sentiment, that, journalism, why, pursue journalism, but especially why now. And I think we all have our own reasons, but it probably uh, resonates a lot with us, like this larger mission beyond just ourselves and wanting to make an impact. So, who are you? Um, Maybe in the chat, actually, very quickly, we can also have people tell us a little bit about themselves. I was thinking maybe Haydee, we could ask them where they're coming from. So, Haydee, where are you coming from? Where are you, what's your hometown?
So I'm from Bakersfield over here in California.
Great. So yeah, and I'm originally actually from New York, but I've been out here in the Bay for almost 2 years. So yeah, I think it would be great to hear kind of where your hometown is, and then maybe, or where you're based now, and yeah, just to see the diversity of where people are coming from. If you're a California resident, or from somewhere in on across the states or beyond. Um, and Haydee, can you maybe tell me what people are saying? Where are people coming from?
See, I see someone from Palestine who came to California last year, someone else from Bakersfield and attending Loyola Marymount, Richmond, Corpus Christi, Texas,
Okay.
uh, Italy, San Leandro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, great. I always love seeing kind of where people are coming from. And yeah, I mean, I guess what we're looking for are people that are curious, bold, driven, independent thinkers, and especially those that want to make an impact through their storytelling. I think that is obviously kind of the reason people come to journalism in the first place. Yeah. So stats about our incoming class. I feel like these are always just really fun stats. So the total number of students we enroll each year is between 50 and 60. Haydee, how many students are in your class?
I believe it's somewhere about 50.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the incoming class is 53. So typically we enroll around 50 to 60. And then our percent of incoming students who are California residents, at least this year, is 59%. But I think we do try to stay within at least half of the incoming class being from California. We're a public university, so that's always something that we are driven to ensure that we're representative of the California the state of California. And then percentage of incoming students receiving departmental funding. So this is 53%, and that means receiving depart funding specifically from our department. So that doesn't include financial aid or other resources. And again, 53%, I think the smallest amount of award given was like 10,000, and then through fully funded packages. So we were really fortunate to be able to award a lot of full funding packages to deserving students. And that's something that we'll learn more about later in the process is what those opportunities look like. But yeah, so there are plenty of opportunities here at Berkeley Journalism, but also in UC Berkeley, the larger school, in terms of fellowships, and then also, of course, outside of our school. So, additionally, percent of incoming students who are first gen college students is 30, there's 37% this year, and 43% identify as coming from an underrepresented background. And then percent of international students is 26% this year. That dipped a little bit this year. Typically, we're around a third or less, or 30 to 35%. And so but at this year, we're at 26%. And I think we have 12 countries represented in that 26%, which is a lot considering that we only enroll like 50 to 60 students, and we have about 12 or we have 12 different countries represented. So a lot of international diversity there too. Okay, so why you see Berkeley journalism, and Haydee can probably speak to some of this too. But we offer a 2-year master's program. It is a professional degree, so an MJ, not an MA or an MS, which is slightly different. MJ is focused again on really equipping you with the skills you need to go directly into the workforce as a journalist, a working professional. So that is different than an MS or an MA. That doesn't mean, however, that like if your plan was to like teach later on, that you can't use this degree to then go teach. A lot of our lecturers, probably Haydee can say that a lot of our lecturers come from Berkeley journalism, like they themselves graduated through this program years ago, and faculty as well. So you can always come back to us. I think we're such a small, tight-knit community that we do our best to really ensure that people want and that there are opportunities for Berkeley journalism grads to come back and teach here too. Um, and of course, the location. Obviously, Haydee was coming from Bakersfield, so not as far as some other people may be coming from, but the Bay is great. I don't know, Haydee, what are your favorite things about the location?
I feel like for me, especially as someone who like didn't drive coming here, I think just being able to like kind of like get on like public transportation and then go around a lot easier than it is in other places. And also it's very different, at least like from my hometown, I would say. And I do feel a bigger sense of community over here, which is what I was hoping to get out of this as well.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, definitely a sense of community is like really important. Um, and yeah, so we're going to talk quickly about the program. Again, we're an MJ degree professional. We do offer a 3-year concurrent degree program with public health and Asian studies. So if you're interested in those programs, you can reach out to me. We're going to be doing an info session in October with the public health for with the public health representative. But essentially, the application would be for the concurrent degree. So just make sure that if you are applying, that you're not applying at the Master of Journalism, because there's separate application for the concurrent Master of Journalism and Public Health or Asian Studies. So just make sure you're selecting the right application because it's not in the journalism degree, it's a separate concurrent degree application. Our specializations, so Haydee, you can probably speak to this too, but we have five different tracks or areas of study: audio, documentary, multimedia, narrative writing, and photojournalism. So Haydee is coming to us from the narrative writing track. Can you speak to maybe what that means? Like if they're when they're applying, like why is this something that yeah, like what does it mean for to have a specialization?
Yeah, for the narrative track specifically, we're also divided into three separate concentrations: the short form, long form, and investigative. And so, um, I mean, for me, I'm on the short form track, and that's what I'm interested in. But if you're somebody who's like looking into more like investigative and more complex work, I think like long form and the investigative track is also like a really good option for those looking to get into that.
Great. Thank you. And yeah, and these specializations are important when you apply. So I would say think about, so there is some flexibility. You don't necessarily, when you apply, you should have some idea of what track you want to be considered for. However, there is a little bit of flexibility before you get here and maybe a little bit into the semester too, right, Haydee? Where you could um, change tracks, but essentially, each track has its own course sequence, so it's better to kind of know what you want to do earlier on, just so that you can make sure you're meeting all of the course prereqs to set you up for second semester and especially into second year. I will say the only track that you need to apply for outrightly and you can't move into it later on is documentary. So if you know that you want like documentary is your bread and butter, that's what you want to focus on, then please make that your first choice track in the application. There's a backup option track that you can select as well. So if you don't get into documentary, then, oh, I want to be considered for multimedia, video for the web, for example. You could then include that selection there. So you'll still be considered, for another specialization. But if you don't want to be considered for anything but documentary, then you could also indicate that in the application itself. Like if I don't get in, or I don't get waitlisted or anything, I will make other considerations. So just so you know, for anyone that's interested in documentary, are there, just because we're talking about tracks, maybe can people tell me which tracks they're interested in the chat? Just like quickly, so we have a sense of like what people want to know more about. That way, I'm not focusing too much on because I do realize that I'm mentioning doc, but yeah, if there are other areas of interest, I can focus on photojournalism, narrative writing, like Haydee is doing, which I will say tends to be the most popular track. Narrative writing, and then multimedia, and then probably doc. Audio and photojournalism tend to come after that, but and this doesn't affect also your application itself. So it's not like if I put multimedia, I'm less likely to get in, or if I put photo, I'm more likely to. It doesn't really work that way. You're just considered generally for admission, aside from the documentary program, which is reviewed specifically by the documentary faculty. Um, Haydee, did people put what tracks they're interested in?
Yeah, I see a lot of narrative and multimedia and
Okay.
documentary as well.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so topical areas. This is something that's separate. It will be asked in the application. We will also ask if you have experience in these topical areas. This is helpful for us just to kind of have a sense of your, level of journalism experience. But also these are areas that we here focus on. Haydee, maybe you can share if you know other students or if you're, you mentioned investigative reporting. I know that a lot of students are interested in investigative reporting. So maybe you can speak to like, yeah, what those topical areas mean.
Yeah, I was actually interested like coming in the investigative reporting track, even though I had switched previously. So um I mean, a lot of there's specifically for investigative because that's what I'm able to speak on. There is a class where you write up a pitch, and then that will be sort of your application into another class after that.
Great. Yeah, so we'll talk more about these topical areas, but the point is that you can do these topical areas at the same time as the specialization. So the specialization is your media platform um, that you will focus on. That is also going to be the media platform you'll use to showcase for your master's project, which is the culmination of your time here, but it will be really the focus of the second year of your 2 years here. So yeah, just to make sure that people know that you can do business journalism, but also multimedia, or you could do data reporting and do narrative, or you could. My point is, you can kind of mix and match those things and take classes in data reporting or health and science reporting or investigative. Okay. So, just to give you guys some, because I was talking about the 2 year program, I think another point of interest for a lot of students is being able to do the summer internship between year one and year two. This is just a list of some of the internship sites where our students did their internships last year. And yeah, so I think Haydee can probably attest to, you know, yeah, what that's like, and that is a degree requirement as well. So. Oh, yeah, I think. Mhm.
Yeah, I actually just finished up my internship over the summer. I was able to go back to my hometown, and for my internship, I was working remotely, but I got this opportunity actually through it was funded through Berkeley Journalism. So for some students, we're able to get a stipend to support some of that work in collaboration with the organization we're working with.
Yeah, and I think yeah, this is the summer internship is a really great opportunity for students to apply what they've learned, to expand their networks, to like just be in the workforce. And yeah, I always hear great things about summer internships, and our career development director, Betsy Raitt, also does a lot with students in the spring of their first year to ensure that they have support and resources, and we have partnerships. And we've obviously we tried our best to maintain these partnerships with these different internship sites so that we have we're able to kind of bring students back, or have them have like preferential or first choice with some of these internship sites. So yeah, Betsy's amazing. So I'm actually going to be doing an info session with her probably beginning of October. So you'll be able to hear from her about how, you can have a leg up in terms of your own career development and advancement and goals. And yeah, but she's great. So um
I had one more thing I wanted to
yeah.
add, Nelly, about the
Mhm.
internships. Just that with Betsy's help as well and all of the events and things that she's been able to put on with some news organizations that come here to the journalism school or participate in some of our events. That was really helpful to me, especially one event called Media Mayhem was kind of what kind of broke the ice between the editor and I that I worked with this summer. And so we had a chance to speak then right before my interview, which was really nice.
Yes. Very, very cool. Media Mayhem is the essentially like our big networking um, you know, conference, or it's essentially the hub for students to really be able to get this like insider contact and networking opportunity with all these news outlets, as Haydee mentioned. So whether that's like the New York Times or I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's just all the big names, all the names you can think of. And so that's where I say Berkeley journalism really will give you an edge, I think, and will open up a lot of doors for you, just purely because you're going to have access to these networks, right? So, sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. So yeah, where the class of 2024 is now. So these are just some of the placements. I've included, for example, we talked about investigative reporting. So a lot of our students, we do have quite a few students who will do summer internships with the investigative reporting program. And then they'll also, even after they graduate, continue on as as a reporter or a researcher. And so it is very cool to see how Berkeley journalism is really supporting students and working with them beyond, their 2 years here. The California Local News Fellowship is another opportunity for, again, it's also run by Berkeley Journalism, and it's just a great way to, so I think we had 8 of our students, graduating students, that successfully earned spots out of 30, I think, or 34 spots this year. And it's a program that places emerging journalists in these local newsrooms across the state of California. Sorry. So yeah, it's just very cool to see all the work that's being done, and then they get supported for 2 years of salary to work in places where there are local uh, where there are news deserts, and right, there's this lack of information and transparency in so many of these areas across the state. So yeah, very cool. Cal Matters is there as well, if you know Cal Matters, Modesto B, Press Democrat. Anyways, yeah, so very cool. I want to make sure we have a lot of time. So I'm going to probably flip through a lot of these. A lot of these are going to be pictures as well, just so you have a sense of, what students are doing on campus. But I do want to highlight some unique opportunities. Travel classes. Haydee, I don't know if that's something you considered applying to or if you've heard of the travel classes, but I know students are really excited about that.
Yeah, I actually applied to be in a travel class last year. I unfortunately was not able to get in, but a lot of my people from my cohort and the cohort above me, I know that they had like a really good time, and like I think that was like an opportunity for them to explore stories that they had been considering before that as well.
Yeah, and they went to Bogota, Colombia. And I think this year they said El Salvador it might be
I'm not sure,
where they
but
end up going. I know it's kind of not hush hush, but I think like they're still debating. So but we've taken students to India, Taiwan, Latin America. So it's very cool. And it's great to see that that's ongoing. And essentially it funds so if you apply and successfully get into the travel class, which I think is typically like 8 to 12 students, then it fully funds you to go and report in, let's say, India, right, or Taiwan, or wherever the class is going. And so yeah, just a really cool opportunity. Other opportunities I want to highlight are our certificate in business journalism, which is in collaboration with UC Berkeley Haas, the Haas School, and then also in support with the support of Bloomberg Philanthropies. So this means if you take 3 classes, either between Berkeley Journalism or Haas that qualify, then you would get a certificate on top of your 2 year, MJ degree, which is really cool. I know students have also even been able to like intern or get a job at Bloomberg afterwards. So that's kind of a cool ongoing partnership we have with them. There are mini classes. I saw the aerial photography. I feel like that's always like a cool class. I always see that on the schedule, and I'm like, ooh. And there's plenty of other very topical classes. Last year, a lot of classes were covering elections, the elections. This year, I think we have a class taught by Mark Shapiro covering the Trump administration policies. So we always try to have very like timely, relevant, topical classes as well. And then you can even take classes outside the J school. I don't know if you've tried doing that, Haydee, or know of other students that have, but yeah,
I unfortunately don't know too much about that, or don't know other students as far as like stuff that can work into
their
their
course.
degree for journalism. But
Yeah, I know that when I spoke with Andres, which is he was a J peer last year, he was saying that students, I think oftentimes they might take like a political science course or like a Latin American studies course or something, or like a climate, like if they're interested in climate journalism, they might take a course in like the environmental sciences, policy and management program. So actually talking about Climate Lab, we do have a class that is working with ESPM, the Environmental Science, Public Policy and Management department. So that's a really cool collab. California Local News Fellowship, we talked about that, and then the investigative reporting program. So these are all really unique to Berkeley journalism, which is why I like to highlight this. This isn't, something that you find in other places. And again, the investigative reporting program is, it's meant to be teaching institute. So this is an opportunity for you to again gain investigative skills. And then potentially, if you're admitted to the blockbuster course in the second year, you could be working on developing, a really long form, like investigative piece, a piece, which is very cool. A lot of our students, will get awards. I mean, these are, yeah, it's just incredible the type of work that our students are getting, like Pulitzers and stuff. Um, very quickly getting involved with the IRP. Again, this is a teaching institute, professional newsroom, and it's led by our four-time Pulitzer Prize winner, David Barstow. So he's been running this program. He teaches as well. And then, again, they're committed to reporting stories that expose injustice and abuse of power, while training the next generation of journalists in the highest standards of the craft. And yeah, there are so many ways you can get involved. You don't need to apply to the IRP. If you're a student here, you'll have opportunities to, work with them or take their class in the spring of your first year. So yeah, no worries. You'll have plenty of time to dabble in that if that's something you're interested in. And so now I'm just going to show you some of the pictures again, just so you can see our J200 course, which actually Haydee could probably talk to you about. That's also a really cool experience for students. Haydee, do you want to maybe tell them about your J200 experience?
Yeah, it was a really good experience for me, especially as someone who had never lived in the Bay Area before. And so, what that class is everybody writes in that class. And so, it's a reporting class. You have to have about like five stories by the end of the class, but you're working in kind of like a newsroom setting almost, where you're giving your pitches during your session with your peers and going out and doing the reporting out in the field and really getting embedded in the community.
Yeah, so I do exactly. So the J200 is really a really cool class. All students are required to take that in their first semester. It's a 6 credit class, so it really does take up a lot of your time in that first semester. So that first semester is quite intensive, but it's a really great way to be out in the field, to actually be learning the skills you need to meet deadlines, to be writing, learning, editing, like getting your work edited. Like it really is a all-encompassing, fully immersive, hands-on how to be a journalist kind of experience, which I think is really cool. That's kind of the way you start, you're fully thrown into it. And yeah, so this is our journalism faculty. So again, you'll see that for example, Jennifer Redfern, who leads the documentary program. Elena Konis, folks, was the acting dean last year, but she's health and science reporting. Bill Drummond, if anyone is interested in reporting on incarceration, he's been around for a long, long time. When I speak with alums, he's typically the one that everyone knows about because he's just been teaching here for 50 years or something. Like it's incredible. Queena and Shireen work on the audio program. Jason, if you're interested in climate, the climate lab, climate journalism, and doc work, then Jason is a great resource. Yeah, so these are all, and then Michael Bolden, of course, the dean, who's brand new, and David Barstow, the investigative reporting program. So, and then Jeremy, he leads our multimedia. And he's the associate dean of academic practice. So so he's also a great resource for multimedia interest. Yeah, so I'm going to move past this and then we're going to talk about admissions and funding because I do realize timing wise, I do want to highlight that you do not need to have journalism experience to apply. I don't know, Haydee, what your experience was like prior. Maybe you can share, but but we're very open to kind of the range of academic backgrounds, journalism experience. Some people come to us and they've been in the field for a long time. They want to come back and really hone certain other types of skills, whether it was like data or audio, and kind of do a different media platform. And then for some students, they really are coming with like political science background or history or something, and they don't really have journalism experience. So we are very accepting of kind of all applications. Yeah, Haydee, if there's anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, so I got my degree in communication, so I kind of like dabbled in a little bit of journalism, just like on my school newspaper, and I did a fellowship with Cal Matters right before I came to the J school. But I still kind of felt like I wanted to learn a lot more, and I've always been interested in school, and so that's why like I still wanted to continue my education at Berkeley journalism. But yeah, I mean, um, I
Yeah.
sorry, I kind of blinked out, but yeah.
Yeah, and I know that's great. I think in terms of also the basic qualifications, we do require that you have a 3.0 GPA. If your GPA falls below this like a little bit, you can always reach out to me, but generally, 3.0 is like that benchmark. But I would say, any application that's submitted will be reviewed. So as long as it's complete, we won't automatically dismiss you we've accepted students below 3.0, again, because we do consider, a holistic application review process. Yeah, I will say as well, if you're interested in more of the visual storytelling aspects, let's say photojournalism, documentary, we do still require that you have strong writing skills. So that is something that, having a writing sample, that is something that we do require. And then the other thing I was going to say is we don't require the GRE, but if you're an international student, we will have additional testing if you're an international student that has graduated from an international institution with an international bachelor's degree, then you might need to take TOEFL or IELTS if you're not coming from a country where the official language is English. So you can learn more on our admissions page or the graduate division application requirements page. Um, Okay, so funding opportunities really briefly. I'll have another info session where I talk more in depth about this. But essentially, uh, for as a first year incoming student, we have both merit and need-based aid. You will automatically be considered for merit-based scholarships if you submit by December 1st, which is our priority deadline. It's also the priority deadline for admission consideration. I like to highlight this because December, essentially 80% of our incoming class like comes from round one. So my recommendation is if you want the best chance of getting in, round one is gonna definitely be that. It's gonna give you the best chance. It doesn't mean that, you shouldn't apply in the second round. It just means that it's going to be helpful to apply early. Also for documentary, if you're interested in documentary, I don't know if we admitted anyone in the second round last year for doc, so I really highly recommend applying for doc in round one, if that's kind of like what you really want to be doing. The need-based aid from our department, that will require that you complete the need-based essay in the graduate departmental section of the application. So make sure you complete that essay, make sure you complete, all the questions related to financial, kind of like your financing. This will give us an idea of need relative to other applicants, which then helps us make decisions, right? So about granting need-based aid. So I would say definitely complete that. Otherwise, you won't be considered for need-based aid. So just make sure to do that. Federal student aid like FAFSA, that is different from, so I like to be very clear that need-based aid from the department is different from financial aid, which comes from the university. That we have nothing to do with FAFSA or financial aid. Like our office, that's a completely separate process for a good reason. So essentially, if you have questions about FAFSA, you have to be a domestic applicant, US citizen, or a permanent resident to even apply to FAFSA. If you're an undocumented student, then you could consider the California Dream Act. I don't know how to say the acronym, but it's essentially, yeah, that is a different process. So you could apply through that. And then there's ASC opportunities, university employment like ASE, academic student employment. There's other on-campus jobs as well. So if you're international, you can apply for any on-campus work during your first year. So I highly recommend these opportunities for both international and domestic students. But you wouldn't be able to start applying for these until April. And you'd have to be an enrolled student, meaning that you've been admitted, accepted the offer, and then have your Berkeley ID and email, Cal ID and email, and then you could start applying officially for these opportunities. And then there's other awards as well. There's other scholarships and such and fellowships that you will be considered for if you apply by round one. So again, please make sure to do that. Apply by round one. Do you have anything to add about academic student employment or maybe other work opportunities students find?
I mean, I know that a lot of the students in my cohort are GSRs or GSIs. Um, readers or instructors for other undergraduate classes. Um, and then I would also just like to stress like trying to like get your application in before that or by that first deadline, just because I know that like you mentioned that there was a lot or there are some opportunities for fellowships, like to be like a dean's fellow at the journalism school. And so I'm not too sure, but at least when I applied, that wasn't available when if you're applying in the second round.
Mm. Yes, exactly. So I really do highlight students applying by that round one deadline. And then what Haydee just mentioned about the academic student employment, that includes positions like GSI, which is like a TA instructor for an undergraduate class. There's a reader, which is like a grader. So you grade for the class, undergrad class, tutor position. I will say, and the cool thing about that opportunity is it provides really comprehensive funding. So it covers your tuition and fees for the semester you work, except for the PDST or the NRST if you're like an out of state or international applicant. So they're pretty comprehensive, and they also give you a salary. So they give you a per hourly wage, which is really great because obviously then you can use that to go towards housing or whatever you want. And then the tuition and fees, that's remission, which means that it comes out of directly your account, your bill for so it goes from it, so it's applied to your tuition and fees, right? Directly. So a really, really cool opportunities. And you can do that through any department on campus. So it's not restricted to journalism. A lot of students are finding these in the media and studies department or English or political science or history or American studies, like whatever it might be. So yeah, definitely recommend those opportunities. Okay, so I know so actually what I might do is we can go through application tips and open it up for questions just to make sure because I do want people to get their questions answered. So we talked about selecting an area of study. Does anyone have questions about anything? And then we can again just open this up to people.
We have a question in the chat asking if the classes are in the morning.
So classes, it varies. It varies by, yeah, I think that's why we don't really have a like we don't have a schedule for, it's not really, it changes. So I will say that most classes are Monday through Thursday. So majority of your classes will be Monday through Thursday. Majority of them will take place before 5 o'clock. There are some evening classes like that are 6 to 8 or 9 or I don't remember exactly, but they're very few. I think there's like one or two. So most of your classes are going to happen between 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday, is my feeling. Right, Haydee?
Yeah, at least for me, mine was kind of in within that schedule, like Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5. But I do know other students who had those like 6 to I believe 8:30 or 9 classes.
Um, Great. Yeah, any other questions? I see there's hands.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. I was wondering how much fluency is required in a target language for the Asian Studies dual degree program. Like, I'm pretty rusty in my target language, so is that a requirement to be fluent right away, or is there an opportunity to do like refresher classes and build up to fluency again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would probably, so the thing is that language proficiency requirement is on the Asian studies side, not our side. So I would reach out to them. I can share the contact for his name is Grant Tompkins. So I can share that contact with you. But essentially I would ask him because they're managing their requirements, we're managing our requirements. And then if you're admitted to both programs, then you essentially start with journalism and then you would move into, you would start incorporating courses in the second year that are like Asian studies course or public health course, whatever the concurrent degree. So that's normally how it works. So that's why it's kind of like separate in terms of the requirements. So just double check with them. I don't want to say something and then it be wrong. So, because they're going to be reviewing it on their side for that language proficiency. Um, yeah, let me get you the quickly like Grant Tompkins. I have his contact. Let me give you that real quick. Okay. It is in the chat. There we go. Oh my gosh. Okay. There we go. Okay, for Asian studies contact. Okay. What other questions? And then I'm talking about the application components. So just for reference, if you have questions about any of these things, we can talk more. I have some slides about them, but we can just go that way. I'll let you guys kind of decide what we focus on.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, so I'm interested in the concurrent MPH.
Mm-hmm. I can't hear you, Gabriella. Gabriella? Hello? Um, okay, Gabriella, we can't hear you. So maybe we'll come back to you, or if you want to write your question in the chat. Okay. Let's go to, am I skipping anyone? Duha?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I sent an email to you yesterday. I was inquiring about the application. So I'm currently completing one academic year in Contra Costa College to meet the English proficiency requirement instead of doing TOEFL, which will be finished by May 2026. So can I apply for fall 2026 admission or do I need to wait until fall 2027?
Wait, say that again. You're graduating in May 2026?
So I already have a bachelor degree from Palestine, okay? And then I have to do either a TOEFL or one academic year to meet the English proficiency requirement.
Okay.
So I'm doing this full academic year right now in Contra Costa College, which will,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and it will be in by May 2026. So can I apply for,
Yeah.
yeah, or do I have to wait for another year?
Yeah, that's kind of difficult. I would ask grad div. I can give you the email, but graduate admissions, because that's kind of tricky because they ultimately decide whether or not um what qualifies as like the exception. Like that's not on us that they control that.
Yeah.
So we can make a case for you,
Mhm.
but they ultimately decide like yes, that's sufficient or no, they need to. So I would email them to be safe, and just
Yeah.
say,
I do email them yesterday, but I didn't get an answer yet.
we just opened the online application, so they're probably super busy.
Yeah,
Because it
gotcha.
just it just opened yesterday, so
Yeah.
I feel like they probably are just
Yeah,
getting so many inquiries.
yeah,
So
and the other thing I have a quick question. I came before to UC Berkeley you were travel or something because I couldn't like know how to book an appointment or something. So I was like, I have a question about the full academic year that I am already taking Contra Costa College. If there's a specific courses, do I have to take in my consideration or not? I emailed the admission team, but I like before like 2 months, but I didn't get a answer. They just told me that you have to take a 24 credit courses and should be academic and in English. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure if there's a specific courses or not.
No, there aren't specific courses. It just, yeah, it can be whatever as long as, yeah, it doesn't need to be journalism or, it doesn't need to be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Essentially, it's just for proficiency. So the assumption would be if you completed, those and you did well, you earned a B or higher in those courses,
Mm-hmm.
right? That your English is good enough
Okay.
academically, right, to succeed in an academically rigorous environment like that of UC Berkeley.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's keep going. I know I see a lot of questions. Let's go to did did we go to Amna Shafi?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes.
Okay, I had two questions if that was all right. The first question was about what exactly you wanted to see in the personal video, because I feel like that's a unique thing for this application.
Yes. I thought I had put something about personal video. Okay, maybe I didn't. Oh, this was about the TOEFL and IELTS. Okay. Yeah, I thought I had included a slide about unique touch points. So the personal video, I would say that they want to see you. So sometimes people will put, they'll like put a like a like a collage or something together. We don't really want to see that. We want to see like you sitting in front of, kind of like here on Zoom, where it's like I'm speaking, I'm using, I'm giving my passion and enthusiasm. I'm showcasing that for the school, why Berkeley, and I'm addressing the prompt that's in, if you go to the admissions page, there's that prompt of like what we want to see. Also in the application, there's a prompt of like what you should address in your personal video. Again, you have 1 to 4 minutes. So, during that time, if there's other things you want to highlight, please feel free to do so. Just make sure that you at least address the prompt. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like there isn't really a way to do it or not do it. Just make sure that you're featured in the video, you're talking, to the camera at some point. But if you wanted to like also have like a collage or show your video editing skills, let's say you're applying to multimedia or doc track and you just want to showcase that like you can do cool things with your video, then like feel free to do that. We've had kind of whatever you can think of in terms of, what people submit.
Awesome. And then I had a second question, if that was all right, about the work samples.
Mhm.
If you didn't have that much like experience in a professional journalism scene, what would you look for in work samples? Could like research papers work or stuff like that?
So, yeah, this is a really good question. So my recommendation is which track are you considering, or are you still not sure?
I was considering the narrative writing or photojournalism track, personally.
Okay. Those are quite which is fine. You can, it's fine. But I was gonna say, like, for example, let's say you wanted to apply to um photojournalism, then that it might be good to like include like photo essays, right? Or if you're applying to narrative, then you might want to showcase more of your writing skills, right? So I think ideally my recommendation would be to kind of show more of like a comprehensive skill set. So you're not submitting like three writing samples, three written nonfiction written submissions. You're maybe submitting like a photo essay or, a multimedia piece or um, you know, a short like video, like whatever it is. But I recommend just showcasing more, especially if you're debating between like photojournalism and narrative writing, just to showcase kind of a wider skill set. But I would say in terms of academic research papers, my only I would say that you're only going to showcase up to 5 pages, right, for any of the work samples. So the maximum that the committee will review is 5 pages. So just keep in mind which parts you would want them to view, but also ideally you're going to choose more journalistic samples. So I would just try to keep that in mind. It's more storytelling, less like academic research, because it's just different. And I know faculty don't honestly always like that. So I would personally shy away from those unless you really have nothing else to submit. But you have some time between now and December 1st. So if you wanted to write something up, or whatever, I think you could also do that too. Yeah, I hope that
Awesome.
answers your questions.
Yeah, it did. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's go to the next person, which is, I don't know, Haydee. Who's the next person?
See Emma Green.
Okay, perfect. Let's go to.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for hosting this. I was curious about like if you could give some examples of what might make a compelling application for someone who doesn't have a lot of background experience in journalism, and maybe some like particular examples of students who've been admitted in the past who don't have like a background in journalism.
I mean, the person I think of is Andres because he was one of my JP. He worked in the admissions office last year as a JPeer. I mean, so he's actually featured in this that's like him. That's a screenshot of his personal video. I think he did actually one of the things that really stood out for him was the personal video. I think he did a really good job of showcasing. Um, I mean, honestly, the faculty really want to see like ambition, drive, and like passion for journalism. So as long as you kind of have tried things or dabbled in storytelling and can make a good case about it, I think that it might be a little bit of a tougher sell than someone that's obviously worked for a college newspaper or like, you know, worked in a newsroom or did an internship, but I think there's always a case to be made. Like we do have students that didn't do journalism at all. Andres is a case of that. I actually recommend reaching out to him if you want. I could give you his if you want to email me, Emma, then I'd be happy to connect you with him. Does that work, Emma?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because I think he'd be able to just go into it more deeply. And I know time-wise also, I want to make sure we get to everyone's questions. But yeah, just feel free to email the journalism email. Do you know that I can, or if you can put it in the chat, Haydee. Um, okay, let's go to Austin Riggs, I think. I think he's next. Hope I'm not skipping people.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is another question kind of further in reference to that personal video, because I just heard you mention like kind of it looks like from that screenshot and kind of how you're sitting, like you said, like, oh, like you're talking to the camera in front of it. But you mentioned like other styles.
Mhm.
Um, would you say that this should be more of a professional piece rather than like an Elle Woods-esque kind of admission video? Because that is what was coming to my mind as I was brainstorming for that, but I just was curious as to the distinction.
Yeah. I I think as long as you're in the video at some point, what you do is like the reason I say that is because I've seen some submissions where like a student is like taking a video where maybe they were like doing maybe they're like a broadcast, like they're just showing like them at work and doing like an interview, right? And that doesn't really address the prompt, that doesn't really tell us like it shows you doing work, but you could also make that, a work sample submission if you want. Like I think the point of this that's separate from like a work sample is that we're getting to know you, right? And it's more personal because keep think of it in a sense as like this is in Leo. Okay, I always want to say the French in Leo of a personal an interview. So that's kind of what this is replacing, and that's why I say like it's good to kind of have I'm talking to you almost as if you were in front of me type of a vibe. But again, if you want to make it a collage and like have part of the video, you have 4 minutes, I think you can address the prompt in 30 seconds if you like really wanted, right? Like, so you could do whatever you want for the rest of it.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And I have seen those videos too, and some of them are really cool. I will say, I think it just depends. Like, it depends on which track you're applying for. Like, if you're a doc student, that might be a cool thing to do, right? To like kind of showcase your video editing skills, right? So I think it just depends on like what you're applying for, too, so keep that in mind. Okay. Let's go to Elias. I might be butchering your name, sorry. Elias.
Hi there. So I have two questions. One is I want to go into food critique, so what track should I choose? And also I'm graduating next May 2026 with my BA in history. Can I apply now or I have to
Hmm?
wait to be fully
Nope,
graduated?
you can apply. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I think a decent amount of students do apply directly from their like from bachelor's, so they don't wait a year or anything. They just apply. They're a
Gotcha.
senior or whatever, fourth year student, and then so yes, you're as long as you're going to graduate from your bachelor's by the start of the program, which is August. It's mid-August. So as long as you're going to graduate before mid-August, before the start of classes, you're good. You can
Cool.
apply. Okay. Was that okay? Let's go to Molly.
Hi, thank you so much for hosting this session. I just had a quick question about samples. You mentioned that, if you're, depending on what track you're
Absolutely not.
applying to, that you might want to, have a more comprehensive sample selection. And for me, like I have a lot of writing experience, but I want to do a multimedia track to gain that experience, but I don't have a lot of samples that reflect my abilities in that area yet, if that makes sense. So I'm just curious to see like
That's
if we
completely
should
fine.
okay.
I'm gonna go back to Andres here because who's featured in the personal video here screenshot because he is a multimedia student. So
Okay.
and his background, he didn't do anything related. I think he was interested in data, so he might have maybe he had done some data related stuff, but he didn't have anything else. I think most of his samples were writing based. So I think that's completely fine. Like
Okay.
just work with what you have and yeah, just highlight what you're missing, the skill, that the skills that you're lacking, but hoping to gain from it. I think as long as you're very clear about, and intentional in your statements, your essays, I think you'll be fine. Like it's not going to be looked at as like you won't be penalized for it. We understand that you're going to grad school to get skills, to gain skills as well, right?
Amazing. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Gabriella?
Yeah, can you hear me? No?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's try this again. So I'm interested in the MPH plus MJ concurrent degree program, but I was wondering, do you still need to select a specialization topic like narrative writing, documentary, multimedia?
Yes. So
Okay.
I know it's kind of confusing because with MPH, there's so many other, they also kind of have not tracks, but different specializations. So we also have our own specializations, which are, the five tracks. So yes, you would need to indicate that so that we could review your application.
Okay, and then I know you said you're also sorry, can I ask you another question real quick?
Sure. Mhm.
Okay, so I know you said you were doing an info session for that specific program in October. Do you know when that will be?
Yes, it'll be October 20. I'm actually going to post. I just finalized the date. It'll be Wednesday, October 22nd, 5 to 6 p.m.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So if you go to the admissions events, it'll be updated in that list. If you go to the upcoming admissions events, it'll be in that list probably by end of today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Okay, I know we're over time and I know we also started a bit later. So I'm happy to stay on and address any other questions. Haydee, are there questions in the chat?
Yeah, we have a lot of questions in the chat. I'm trying to see what we haven't answered yet. Someone said, I don't know if someone asked this already, on the documentary website, there is an essay for
Mhm.
why documentary, but did we get
Yes.
to that one? Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, we didn't talk about that, but yeah. So for additional requirements, documentary applicants, make sure you select documentary. For work samples, submit 1 to 2 video submissions. So, for and then an additional essay of 300 words maximum. And the prompt is in like, you'll see it on our page, of like what that essay what specific topics need to be addressed in that essay. So just make sure you do all those things, and that way you can be fully considered for documentary, and you don't have an incomplete application for documentary review.
Then someone said that they received an email that the application is open, but only options are summer and fall 25 and spring 26. When will the fall 2026 application
Should
open?
be open. If you have problems accessing it, let me know. Send an email to the journalism. And then I'm gonna put it in my. It's journalism_admissions@berkeley.edu. So just email me and say, like, send me a screenshot ideally, so I can see what the issue is. But it should, if you tried really early in the morning, that might have been the problem, because I think maybe they kind of it was a late launch, so I think it was like noon. So if you tried really early in the morning, it might not have worked then. So try, yeah, but just email us. Okay, any other ones?
Any tips for sample work, especially applicants coming from a journalism or communications adjacent field?
I guess, what types of tips do you want? I think, like, essentially my recommendation is to provide published work if you have it. If it's not published, published journalistic work. Let's be clear. Not just published work in like anything, but published journalistic style pieces. If you don't have that, then non-published pieces are fine. Like, there's like a tiered system, right? In terms of what are probably the most sought after. And then, so I think of it that way. Like, but work within what you have, right? Like, I understand not everyone has published journalistic work already, right? So the same thing, like, if all you have is academic research papers, again, that's, it's not going to really be the best type of work sample, but like, if that's all you have, then, so work within what you have. But yeah, what we do want to see as well is like your contribution. So make sure that, like, it's not something where you did we want to see your, what do you call your, not clips. You want to see your credits. So, make sure that, like, it's something where your name is on that credit, right? Like, you're the one that contributed the most. So if you're submitting a video submission, but it's, you didn't do very much of it, and you were on a team of, 7 people, like, that's probably not going to be as good of a submission as something where you did the editing, where you had a bigger role. So always think about that balance too, right? Like, and the quality, of course, as well. So quality, your contribution, quality, yeah, published. Again, that would be like the highest level, and then you go down from there. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah.
I have, I guess, like one other recommendation too is, sorry if it's a little loud, my AirPods died, but I would probably say, like, try to do like a little bit of a diverse set of work. So like I try to do like a profile or like a feature, and then like something more like hard news, and then an investigative piece. So
Yes. Thank you, Haydee. Yes. Haydee is a great example of that. So, I mean, granted, again, Haydee had more experience. So I'm talking to people that maybe also have less experience too. But yeah. Yeah. And again, with the work samples, well, let me go back to that. Yeah, 5 pages. So, keep that in mind too. Like, or if it's a video, 5 minutes. So highlight what 5 minutes of that video you want them to look at. Because again, we do have we have a lot of applications. So I do want people to be mindful and select, what you want them to review, right? Just be very intentional about that. Okay. So I want to highlight something, and then if there's still more questions, we can do that. But I just want to let you know, the application is open. Round 1 is December 1. Round 2 is January 15th. Our concurrent degree deadlines are the same as the priority deadline, so it's December 1. So that's pretty simple to remember. So concurrent degree, there's only the one deadline. So if you're interested in the public health, all Asian studies, please make sure you submit by, we don't accept late applications at all. Application fee waivers, because I'm already getting lots of questions about this, we offer, so graduate division offers its own application fee waiver, which is separate from departmental fee waivers. If you want to be considered for fee waivers and you're a domestic applicant, please go to the graduate division waiver. The reason being, and I can put that in the application, I can put it here. Okay, I don't know why it did that. Okay, the link works. But essentially the reason being that they have unlimited amount of waivers that they can give out to domestic applicants that are eligible. So if you've participated in like certain programs like Fulbright, for example, or if you are if you demonstrate need, and I think you have to submit like your taxes, or you have to submit a page of or FAFSA. So anyways, there's ways that you can prove like, you know, demonstrating need. If you last year, I think almost everyone that applied got an application fee waiver through graduate division. So that's why I highly recommend going to them first. If you, for some reason, are rejected, then please feel free to reach out to the department by email. If you're an international applicant, you can, because you aren't eligible for that graduate division fee waiver, you can email me directly, us, you know, in the admissions office directly. But please note that departmental fee waivers are very, very limited. So that's the reason I tell people go to graduate division first, because they have unlimited waivers. So as long as you meet the requirements, you can get it. Okay. I do want to highlight that because application fee waivers, I know I get so many questions. The next event's coming up. We have drop-in admissions office hours. I think a few of you have probably already attended these. I think we've had 2 drop-in admissions office hours so far. These will become weekly. So next week, Wednesday, 12 to 1, we will move the times around. Last year, I think I had it every Friday, but this year I'm going to move them around a bit because people have already said like, oh, I can never join at that time. So I am going to try to make some be at like 5 to 6 o'clock, like a little bit later. So just, yeah, take a look at that list of admissions events. And then priority deadline is December 1st. Berkeley's Grad Diversity Admissions Fair. This is another really cool event I recommend doing. This will feature a current student or two as well. So this will be a great opportunity to learn more about the program and then hear from diverse experiences about what life is like at Berkeley journalism. So, and yeah, I recommend joining that one. Okay, so that's it. And then if you want to stay in touch, here's my email, and this is the QR code for, I think, the admissions page. So yeah, please keep in touch with us. Oh no, I know what this is. This is for the fall 2026 interest form. That makes sense. So essentially, if you're interested and you want to stay up to date on the latest news, what's going on, events like this, please scan this QR code, complete that online interest form. I'm sure a lot of you have already done that, but if you haven't, please do that for sure. I'll also put the link in the chat if you haven't filled it out yet. Yeah, any other questions?
I see.
I had a quick Oh, sorry. I had a quick question. When you said 5 pages for the work sample, is that 5 pages total across the nonfiction plus additional, or 5 pages for the nonfiction plus up to 5 pages per additional, if that makes sense?
Yes, it's per sample. So it would be up to 5. It's actually up to 5 pages. So I mean, you could do all 5 pages. You could submit something that's 3 pages long, 1 page, right? So up to 5 pages for each work sample submitted. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm putting it in this is the fall 26 interest form. Okay. Any other questions?
I just wanted to ask a follow-up about what you were saying around work samples that may have been like collaborative works. I'm wondering specifically about like if we have published work that's co-bylined, is that something that folks are interested in seeing, or is it like if we're kind of choosing between published work that might be co-bylined and work that is not published but was done only by us, is where would kind of the preference there fall?
I think, ooh, that's a good question. That's a hard one. I think whatever you think shows the highest quality of work that you can achieve. So if you feel like or if the topic is something that you're really like, for example, let's say you want to pursue business journalism here, or and it's more aligned with the topic that so something where it aligns more with our, you know what I mean, with UC Berkeley's kind of like mission and then I would think of it from a topical perspective too, to help you decide like what makes the most sense. But quality obviously is going to be probably the biggest determinant, I would say.
And if something is co-bylined, should we like put a note with it saying which part we had reported and written? Is that
Yeah, I would just include in the credit there in the application itself, there's like it'll say like provide, like I forget what it says, but there's a place where you can put a description. So I would just kind of provide as much context there as possible, so they kind of are aware, like, yeah, who did what, like I did the editing, my colleague did blah blah blah, right? So yeah. Yeah,
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's normally what people have done, and I think that works well.
Someone asked if they have like an online portfolio. Is there a designated section for that information on the application, which I don't remember.
Wait, sorry, say that again.
If you have an online portfolio, is there a designated section to put that information?
No, I would put that as so there have been people that have done that and they've put a link to their online portfolio. I think you can just do that under work samples, or you could add that as an additional link in your resume. I think it's worked well if you just add it as an additional work sample, because you can upload as many links as you want. The only thing is you should indicate like which ones are your work samples. So they know, work sample 1, work sample 2, work sample 3. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I would just make sure it's clear what your work samples are, and then you could just put like online portfolio, and then they can click on it if they want to click on it. Yeah.
Can you please keep in mind to let me know if I can apply for this year or I should wait until next year after finishing my year at college, please?
Yes, I think you should message grad ADM because
I did.
Yeah. So I think wait to hear from them. They're very busy right now, so it might just take them a week or so or less. I mean, I don't know what usually they're pretty good about getting back to people within like a week. So
Okay.
yeah, I would wait to hear from them just because, yeah, I'm not going to be unfortunately, I'm not the final decider on that. That is graduate division. So
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah. Okay, well, it was such a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Very quick question. I dropped my comment in the comment box, but no, it hasn't been attended to. So I'm from Nigeria and I'm trying to apply for this. I understand that the test requirement, I have to prove that I can speak English. But in this case, I feel like is there some sort of waiver for those of us who are from places like Nigeria or Ghana, and just to understand what your options or what our options are if we have to apply for this. Thank you.
So, if you are interested in an application fee waiver and you're international, then you can send an email and I can submit.
No, I was talking about the English test.
Oh, the English
requirement.
test.
Exactly, yes.
The English test, you're from Ghana, you said?
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria, yeah. I mean, also Ghana is fine. But Nigeria, yeah, that your country, the official language is English, so you don't need to submit TOEFL or IELTS.
Okay, thank you.
So Nigeria's, yeah, yeah. So you're fine to not, you'll be waived like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's no problem at all. Is that the only question you had? I thought you had another question. No? Okay. I see that there's like one more question. I'm trying to get to all these. If you guys need to leave, please feel free to leave. Emma Green, how do we go about sitting in on an MJ class this fall? Um, so yeah, my recommendation is to complete the campus visit interest form. So pretty much any time, and I'm gonna link it as well here right now. So campus visit form. So if you want to sit in on a class, that's visiting campus essentially. So just complete this form and we will get back to you, probably one of the J peers who work in the admissions office. And yeah, so essentially, we just need to make sure that that the faculty are aware that you have permission to join the class. We like to give them a heads up and everything. Also, because the content can change each week, and sometimes it might be confidential or not open to the public. So we just want to make sure that we're getting that getting that permission beforehand. Yeah. Okay. And Yanmeng.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I have some published like video work samples, and they're in Chinese. They have English subtitles, but there are also some like Chinese characters in the video. Should I like translate every Chinese, or can I just submit the one with English subtitles?
I think English subtitles is fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do you don't need to go in and do more work yeah, we just need to know what the subtitles English subtitles is fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. I know we went an hour and a half. I know these can go really long, pretty easily, but thank you so much for joining, and we hope to see you all on campus or at other virtual events. So yeah, stay in touch. Okay, great. Are there any other questions? Haydee, if you need to go, I just stopped the recording and everything, so as well on my end. But
Yeah, I'm on campus, so I'll probably just head to I'm around, but I'll probably just head to the J school right now.
okay, sounds good. Thank you, Haydee. Any other questions?
I have one more question because I joined the session late.
Okay.
So for me, I I have some experience in journalism before, but it was in broadcast.
Mhm.
And then I've been working around with development programs, but I do a lot of writing in my current role. But what I do essentially is developing success stories, and I have a lot of them. Do samples of my writing from developing and documenting success stories for development programs in Africa, can those samples serve? Because I haven't exactly practiced in journalism in a while.
How long ago was it?